I'm really at a disadvantage here. I'm looking at a camera. I don't see you. I can hear you on my
the
ears.
reason I'm
So
interrupting
please
is
give
I think
me a
it
little
might
bit of
be.
a space.
I think you're conflating different interviews with Ben Shapiro. He didn't use the phrase "sons of bitches" with me. Let me play to you what he actually said on my show.
He did. Go back to your interview.
No, he didn't. That was another interview. But let me play what he said to me here.
Well, frankly, I don't believe in proportionate response to terrorism. I believe that the way that you stop terrorism is with wildly disproportionate response. That doesn't mean in terms of...
So wait a minute. Ben Shapiro called... I want to hear the rest of this argument about Ben Shapiro calling Palestinians sons of bees. Wow. That's pretty deep. But all right, let's get ready to look at the rest.
Targeting civilians means in terms of killing as many terrorists as humanly possible and allowing them to dictate the terms of engagement by hiding behind civilians in areas that they are supposedly responsible for, means that the only option for Israel is to surrender to Hamas's hatred of its own citizens, its willingness to use its own children as human shields. No country worth its salt could ever do that.
Now, that is substantively different to what you said he said, right? He's talking there
but
specifically about Hamas terrorists.
I agree. I agree with him. The thing is, the question is, what is a proportionate response? Because it has been different from one tier to another. So if you look to this graph, for example, this is the death of Israeli and Palestinians, and it's changing from 1 year to year. It's like fluctuating like crypto. So my question is today, what is the going rate today for human lives? I mean, 2014 was a great year for Ben Shapiro. 88 Israelis were died, and there was 2,329 Palestinians killed.
Okay, I've never actually listened to this guy talk, but I'm laughing a little bit. I think I heard one thing he said one time, but now it might have been out of context where he was talking about how Christians are the most anti-Semitic or something like that, and I just kind of was like, all right, what is the point that he was trying to make here? But this is actually fascinating the way how he came with that graph. I'm talking about Ben Shapiro, and I meant to look at this episode before, but I just hadn't gotten around to it. But this is a very hot topic. Okay, so now this was a little bit like a few months ago, right? And yesterday we saw like there was an attack in Israel, and this is not the geopolitical channel, right? So we're not going to get all the way deep into it, although I really do like dissenting views. And you know what? Hey, how about this? If anybody feels inclined, why don't y'all answer that question? What is the going rate for life, right? Like, let's just have fun, right? Let's ask the questions, because, you know, I want to have a balanced conversation about everything. And one thing I will say about the conflict between Israel and Palestine is that I feel bad for everybody involved, for sure. Both sides are definitely going to be like passionate and totally getting, you know, when I look at Ben Shapiro talk, except for the speech regulation stuff, you know, I understand where it's coming from. You know, how is this guy going to be calm about this? But I also listen to the rhetoric where it's like, you know, well, we got to get rid of everybody, basically. Like, we got to get rid of all Hamas. But then at the end of the day, you know, you have our own Secretary of Defense, Lord Austin, saying that 25,000 people who were ended were children and women. So, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you just want to have a good blueprint when you're doing these things, a good battle plan, right? But this topic is not going away. And so, you know, at some point when we do start doing live streams on this channel, I want to talk about it. I want to get a feel for how people feel now, 6 months after the fact. And looking in hindsight is sometimes a very good thing too, to see like where we were and where we're going, you know, because yesterday was not necessarily shocking to me, but it just was like that reality check of like, yo, man, we're stepping into some new territory. And oh, as usual, where does America fit in? Because that's my first question, right? Where does America fit in?
On the other side, that is one Israeli for 27 Palestinian. That is a very good exchange rate. What I'm saying is, what is the exchange rate for today? You guys will be happy. That's my question.
Well, it's not me. It's not me, guys. I'm not on either side.
No, not you. Like when I say you guys, I say like the people on the other side of that. I know that you don't think like that, Piers. You're one of the good guys. But let me tell you something.
He's totally patronizing Piers. Oh my God, this is actually funny to watch because he did say your guys, and we're going to keep it real. He meant that to Piers. He did, right? Like, let's be real about it. As a matter of fact, while we're being real, guys, please don't forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe. You know, on the channel, we want to talk about all the hot topics. And you know what? While we're at it, tell me what you want me to cover. like, I don't think I've ever asked that question. We got to serve the people, right? What would you like me to cover? I want to cover whatever you want me to. Okay, let's not get crazy, right? Obviously, in this realm of like kind of like politics with a little bit of geopolitics, which again is going to mesh real soon, because where does America fit in, right? So again, thank you for watching. I do appreciate you guys for watching.
I mean, the reason that I'm using this is that, I mean, I can't remember what happened in 2014, and there was no music festival, but there must be something. I mean, they must do something. It is their fault. It has to be something. I mean, 2018, 300 Palestinians died. Who's counting? So the thing is, what my question is, let's find what is the exchange rate for human life today, so we expect the future death of Palestinians, and we'll be happy to it.
My response to that would be this, Bassem. I thought carefully about this because I think it's very tricky for people like me to immerse ourselves into a conflict where we're not directly involved. And I thought carefully about what I feel about this. I feel that the scale of what Hamas did on October the 7th supersedes anything else I've seen in this conflict, really ever. The savagery, the butchery, the slaughter of 1,300 people, the shooting of babies, the
100%.
kidnapping of grandmothers.
Okay, and I probably want to skip, but we'll just take it in context to the fact that this was about 6 months ago when they were talking about this. I just thought it was worth going back and talking about. There's a lot of things that's come out after that, but with the point that I want to listen to, I want to point out what Piers just said. I thought about it for me. I shouldn't immerse myself into this. Well, we do that anyway, though. When Piers comes, when people come on his show and he's like, do you condemn Hamas? That's you immersing yourself. Like, you're not really trying to like say, you know what, that's between them. They got a battle. You have to immerse. First of all, he's hosting a show, so you're immersed, right? But even more than that, the Americans would just say, I stand with Israel. Okay, why? What do you know why? Drop a comment below. Let me know if you know why you stand with Israel. You can, that's your right to stand with Israel. But I guess the other question to me is, where does, again, I keep saying, where does America fit in? What does standing with Israel really look like, right? And so it's just something to think about. Because yesterday we saw a show of force, and it's not going to end. Like, let's be real, y'all. It's not going to end. It's not doom and gloom. But do we know what really goes into standing with Israel? Because after we saw that show of force, all my senators started doing the stand with Israel. Our commitment to Israel is ironclad, ironclad, ironclad. I was like, oh my God. I know what that sounds like to me. Because if this doesn't stop, well, that's our ally, right? My issue, well, you know what? Let's keep going.
So if we can agree on that, which I think is inarguable, then the question then becomes again about proportion. I don't disagree that there's been a lot of bad stuff on both sides going back historically for decades. But if we agree that this was on a different level altogether, quite deliberately by Hamas, designed to provoke. No, here's my question. Let me ask you a question. And the question, because you raised it earlier about proportion. I honestly don't know what the proportionate response is. I honestly don't. I don't. I've been watching the airstrikes this week thinking.
So what's your question?
Well, I would ask you, if you were Israel, what would you?
If I was Israel.
If you were Israel and that had happened to you, what would you think would be the appropriate way for the country to respond?
I would do exactly like Israel did, kill as many people as possible, since the world is letting me do it. I mean, I can do it because I can, But the thing is, you know what? I agree with you. And you know what? I'm going to be even ahead of you, because I see the question coming. Do you condemn Hamas for the atrocity? Yes, I condemn Hamas. I condemn Hamas. I condemn Hamas is the source of all evil. They're a reason for everything. And you know what? Let's, for a minute, imagine a world without Hamas.
Right.
What will this word look like? Let's give this word a name, and let's name this word the West Bank. Hamas has absolutely no control in the West Bank, and this is the beginning of history.
Yo, I like this guy, man. I'm gonna have to continue to watch this, man. It's he must be a lawyer or something. I think this is pretty good because he went in on Pierce's terms, and he de-escalated. Look, y'all. I know the person watches like, it's because you are a sympathizer or something. Like, y'all, just slow down. Let's just have a quick, realistic assessment of what he just did here. He de-escalated Piers like, You're right. I think that the source of evil, he said, I would do exactly what Israel did because the world is letting me do it. That's a very honest answer. And then he says, Hamas is the root of all evil. I do condemn Hamas. And let's imagine the world without Hamas. Piers Morgan in the back, like, like, yeah, let's imagine that world. He's like, that world is the West Bank. And I already know where he's going with that, right? The expansions. Anyway, this is not necessarily that episode. Let's just keep it domestic on this channel for now. I'm thinking about doing a Geopol channel, guys. Let me know what y'all think. Anyway, so yeah. So this is just fun to watch. Okay, back to domestic though. You know, you can feel how you want. Again, I respect everybody's feelings. We spent 20 years, trillions of dollars, many innocent lives slaughtered. Soldiers, blood wasted, broken soldiers coming back home, disaffected veterans, 20 years. And the Taliban is still in control of Afghanistan. And in fact, that pullout might have been the worst pullout I've seen. Like, my gosh, like a drunk man, a drunk blind man in New Jersey. Okay, anyway, y'all know where I'm going, right? We lost 13 soldiers to that pullout. So the thing is, when I speak about things, and this is why I try to be balanced, is because I want at least the American citizen, right? And if anybody else is watching from another country, I live in America. So when America takes care of itself, it actually does help the rest of the world because we're so focused on our own problems. And we have plenty of those here, right? So to think that we did all that and the Taliban is still strongly the Taliban, right? How much of a betrayal. So when I see this discussion happening and people are getting ready to get bare chests and like get their brewskis, bro, America, we're gonna go, and some Muslims, and like, okay, that feels like a patriotic sentiment, right? But I feel like we are playing the same playbook again, except for the difference is this is not 2001, 2002. We have open borders. We have things that $1 trillion, what you think that could have did? Yesterday, it took $1.1 billion to intercept the drone strikes, the missile strikes that, Iran was sending to Israel, all right? 1.1 billion American dollars. And so your gas prices might be a little higher. Your food's going to be a little higher. So these are the things. It's not like before. Look, I was there. I wasn't there for 9/11, but I remember 9/11 very well. And I remember the emotional feeling was like, yeah, USA, USA. We're going to get them. And yeah, well, yeah. I'm not mad at that at all. And when people say, well, look what you did in back in 9/11, like, yeah, yeah. And a lot of that we shouldn't have did it that way. Of course we shouldn't. But so while we can hindsight that, I just feel like we should look ahead and see where we're getting ready to go now, because we aren't that same America anymore. We are fractured culturally, right? Everything is either racist or homophobic or what, right? And then our infrastructure, we have no infrastructure. We let in a bunch of millions of strangers into the country. So I don't think any American really wants that anyway. So I'm at least refreshed to think that most Americans don't want to be bothered by all of this.